Hi, I'm Missy Ryan Harris. I'm a real estate agent here in Austin, Texas, and I'm here to tell you the top 5 things you need to know before moving to Austin. Number 1, the weather. Let me tell you the average temperatures and what it's like here in Austin so that you can have an idea before you decide to move here. First of all, people always talk about how gorgeous it is outside here in Austin. The weather really is great year-round. Of course, there are things that you need to know, and it's not 75 and sunny the whole year. So let me give you an idea of what the average temperatures are. In the winter, the 50s to 60s would be the numbers that you're going to see the most. You will have some days in the 70s sometimes. In the spring, you'll see 70s and 80s. In the summer, mid 80s, I would say, to 100 degrees. Now, in the summer, you need to know it can be 100 the entire week, every day of the week, maybe even most of the month. August is always a very hot month. I think last year we had the hottest August on record. It can be very hot, and those hot temps do last all summer long. In the fall is amazing. I would say 70s to 80s, but there are definitely some 90-degree temperature days in there. September can be very hot. There may be some Septembers that have a lot of days that are still in the 90s, and then October you could still get some 90s as well. But you do need to know that the winter does bring some cold snaps. Could it get down into the 20s and 30s? Yes, it can. It can snow in Austin, Texas. We did have a huge snow day recently. It started falling at 10 a.m. and snowed the entire day. There was more snow on the ground, and it stuck. The whole streets all over town were completely white with snow, as well as every little branch. It was beautiful. The kids loved it, but it was one of those snows that hasn't happened in, I would say, decades. And that's according to people who have lived here in Austin for years and years and years. There you go. There are cold snaps, but on average, I would say 50s to 60s. I can't talk about the weather without talking about allergies. Allergies here in Austin are very real. You will see ENT doctors, allergy centers all over the place. A lot of people have to be treated for their allergies. They also say that you might not have allergies before you move to Austin, and then you move here and you develop an allergy to something in the environment. Number 2 is culture. The Texas culture is rich. If you love listening to live music, hiking and biking outside in the great weather, visiting breweries with friends, maybe letting the kids run around, visiting swimming holes in the summer, this place is for you. There is a lot to do here in Austin. When they say everything is bigger in Texas, it is so true. One example that I have for you is the flag. You will see the Texas flag everywhere. You drive down the highway, and the size of these Texas flags on the side of the roads are bigger than any flag you've ever seen in your life. Everything is bigger in Texas, from the houses to the flags to the hair to the everything. You name it, it's bigger here, and you will see examples of that over and over again. You can't mention Texas culture without mentioning the food, and 2 categories of foods that I think are synonymous with living in Austin are Tex-Mex and barbecue. It can't be beat. And let me tell you a little bit about the barbecue. Texas barbecue is legit. It is so good. There are so many places to try barbecue here. The other thing, Tex-Mex. It's great Mexican food. It is different. Some people who move here do have to get used to Tex-Mex. All I have to say about Tex-Mex is queso. Queso is like in a food group of its own. Number 3 is traffic. There is traffic in Austin. Sometimes you will even see Austin pop up on the list of the top 10 cities with the worst traffic in the country. Expect traffic during rush hour. People are going to work in the morning, people are coming home in the evening. During those times, you will have traffic. Another thing about Austin is there is so much 2-lane road driving here, or 4-lane road, 2 going each way. A lot of your commute may be on highways with stoplights instead of like on an expressway, or what some people might call a freeway if you're moving from certain places. We have Interstate 35 that goes right up through the middle of Austin, going north and south. It is always jammed up during rush hour. If you live over near that area, that's going to be a concern for you. If you don't live near I-35, doesn't matter. Traffic will be a concern for you anyway if you're going to be commuting during those times. Number 4 is no state income tax. If you live in a state right now where you're paying state income tax, this is probably a big draw for you if you're considering Texas. It might be one of the reasons why you're considering Texas. When you move here, it's like an instant raise. It is awesome. But because there's no state income tax, I will say property taxes are higher. You can expect a property tax of maybe 1.5% on the really low end to all the way up to 4%. It does add up at the end of the year. So no state income tax is great. Expect higher property taxes. And that will lead us into number 5, which is the housing prices here in Austin. In the city of Austin, the average home price is $461,000. In Travis County, it's a little lower at $435,000. Now, if you think you're going to be moving to Austin and you're going to be getting a super cheap house that's really big, that might be the case. I think it depends on where you're moving from. If you're moving from a very expensive area, then you're going to feel like Austin is really cheap and affordable. If you're moving from somewhere where the housing is already reasonable, you might actually think Austin's prices are high. So keep that in mind, think about where you're coming from, and then you can make a determination of, what to expect. I will say those numbers in the $400,000 range, they vary widely. I mean, in some areas, it's much higher than that. The average house price would probably be $600,000 or $700,000. And then in other areas, lower than $400,000. Obviously, that's an average, so that's what you need to know about housing prices. If you would like more information about living here in Austin, the current housing market, what certain neighborhoods are like, stay tuned to this channel. I will be posting a video every week. I will vary the topics, and you can get all of your information here from me. You can also find me on Instagram. My handle is @MissyRyanHarris. As always, click like, subscribe, please. I would love it. And I really appreciate you watching. Thanks so much.